I'm Jarrett Carpenter, and this is the last episode of More Than Blockchain. That's right, you heard it right. It is the last episode of More Than Blockchain, and I'm creating this episode kind of as a transition episode. I had a similar transition episode when I went from the brand Wi-Fi and Water into More Than Blockchain, and I'm really excited now to share with you this episode, which goes from More Than Blockchain into a brand new brand. Now, I've been thinking about this brand transition for about 2 or 3 months now, but I finally think it's the moment to go for it. So, if you're ready, I've created a super small, short slideshow that kind of gives the historic journey of my podcasting experience and why I'm excited to change really just one word of the name and hopefully draw a bigger, a newer audience and bring the people who have been following me along for a whole new journey, which I'm really excited about. I've gone from audio only to video and audio, as you're watching this maybe on YouTube or even Spotify has video and audio now, to the future, which is live streaming. And I know people have been live streaming for years, but I'm going to get into live streaming and really focus on having more guests on to talk about tech, the world around us, and everything in between. And obviously, we will continue to talk about the elephant in the room, which is Bitcoin. So if you're ready, let's go ahead and let's dive into this little PowerPoint that I put together to kind of explain where we've been, where we are today, and where we're going. So let's dive in. Okay, so let's dive into the slideshow that I put together to explain why this is the last episode of More Than Blockchain. I started my podcasting journey with Wi-Fi and Water, which then turned into More Than Blockchain. If you're listening to this now, this is the last episode of More Than Blockchain, but I'm very excited to evolve into the new brand. And I'm going to be kind of talking quasi-quick because the sun is going down and I like using the natural light. So here we go. I started my podcasting experience with Wi-Fi and Water in July of 2020, but by March of 2022, on my birthday, I had this huge epiphany. I woke up and I was like, I need to focus on crypto. I need to focus on the blockchain-backed ecosystem. That's where we are till today. And in October 2024 onward, really November, we're going to be with the new brand, which is very exciting. So when I first started, it was a studio, meaning like I would meet with people virtually and then there was no video. So it was audio only. Now, as you're watching this, there's going to be video, there's going to be visuals, and there's audio. And moving forward, the new brand is going to be live streaming, right? So it's going to be live streaming with video and audio. And then I'm going to take those recordings and put them up into podcasting platforms and onto YouTube. Now, when I started with Wi-Fi and Water, I was really focused on crypto and climate. And then when I went into More Than Blockchain, I was like, I have to focus on the blockchain-backed ecosystem. I have to focus on crypto. Need to put a bigger focus on Bitcoin. Bitcoin is something that's really fascinating to me. However, with the new brand, we're going to be focused on global, future-focused topics with a tech lens. So the example of this is like, if we're going to talk about immigration, let's talk about how maybe Bitcoin or crypto or AI plays a role in immigration. So I'm really excited to dive into some different things. And then here's another slide that I created because it was kind of like all roads led to Bitcoin. While I started talking about the blockchain-backed ecosystem in 2022 and 2023, even into 2024, we're talking Bitcoin, crypto, smart contracts, EVM, Web3, AI, NFTs, DAOs, and I even wrote AI, I guess, twice to emphasize. But it was kind of difficult because if you've been following crypto in 2022, a lot of things hit the fan. Terra Luna died, you had FTX, and then 2023, the price just really went down. Great moments if you're investing, but if you're a builder, and those are the type of people I was looking at on my podcast, a lot of people left and they went towards AI or they just went towards other jobs, which kind of left me only to talk about Bitcoin, which was great because a lot of people follow More Than Blockchain now because of Bitcoin. And moving forward, I hope to continue to talk about Bitcoin, but I want to do it within the context of other industries, as I said, global future-focused topics with a tech lens. So we're with a Bitcoin lens, the economy, trade, finance, geopolitics, culture, sport, business, and energy, and probably more topics. But the point is, Bitcoin is not going to die. We're going to continue to talk about crypto, continue to talk about all of the parts of the blockchain-backed ecosystem, but within the context of kind of the real world. And that's something I'm very excited to do because if you've been following More Than Blockchain, I'd say over the last 12 months, most of my content has just turned into Bitcoin content. Part of that is because it's the most reliable thing. And there are a lot of other parts that have to do with crypto, smart contracts, Web3, AI, NFTs, DAOs, dApps that kind of died in 2022 and 2023. And I want to make sure if we're creating content, we're talking about future signals. So that's something there. So let's move forward. And why the new brand? Well, I felt that, as I just said, More Than Blockchain had devolved into a Bitcoin-only podcast and content machine, which isn't a bad thing, but that's not kind of where I wanted to go. I also felt that it was tough to find new guests and narratives, And here's where I want to talk about the What Bitcoin Did final episode with Pete McCormick, who also just rebranded into Mr. Obnoxious from What Bitcoin Did. And I have to give a shout out to Pete because his evolution into that new brand, Mr. Obnoxious, to allow him to talk about other things outside of Bitcoin was really great to hear. On the last episode, he was basically like, look, I can talk about Bitcoin. We know what's going to happen. It's going to go way, way up. People are going to talk about mass adoption, sovereign adoption, all these different things. And then it will go down again. And he's like, I've already had on all the guests. I've already kind of talked it to death. And there are other things we should be talking about if you have a platform. And I kind of already feel the same. I feel like there are other things we should be talking about outside of just Bitcoin. Or if we do talk about Bitcoin, it should be within the context of other narratives that I think are going to appeal to more people. And one of the other things here, number 3 here is I already create Bitcoin related content for Bitcoin mining content for a Bitcoin mining company, in my 9 to 5. So then to do my passion or my hobby or create this type of content in my 5 to 9 was just becoming like a lot. I need to get outside of Bitcoin a little bit, right? Bitcoin should not be my life. Many of the times when I'm talking with my friends and family and people across the world, I'm really not talking about Bitcoin because it's not interesting to them. And I also felt, and it's not here, that the word blockchain, I alluded to this earlier, was not really inviting, but it was actually keeping people maybe away from my content. So I'm interested to see if a change in the title will maybe bring some other people towards the fire. The sun is going down. If you can't see me, that's okay. You can hopefully hear me. Also, it was seemingly, so there you go. Sorry, I have it in the last one. Seemingly not inviting due to the word blockchain in its title. It sounds silly, but if people are scrolling through new podcasts or someone says, hey, you should check out this podcast and it says blockchain, my new branding and the new name hopefully will invite more people in to listen to the conversations. So in the future, I would like to explore, here's some irony, more than blockchain. I still want to discuss Bitcoin, crypto, and AI within industry context and real world use cases. To be fair, the content won't change too much. I am going to probably start to stay away from the BitPods. And if I do BitPods, they'll only be exclusively on YouTube. I'll dive into more of that actually on the next episode, which will be the first episode of the new brand. And I also want to dive into other areas that are personally interesting to me. Some of the conversations that I have day to day with people and friends and connections from around the world, I think would be great to share with everyone, and especially as they relate to AI, Bitcoin, crypto, and tech. I also want to create more widely sought after content by touching upon different future related topics. That will become very obvious once you see the new branding. So the podcast evolution is not really changing that much. It's still going to be future focused topics with guests from around the world, which I'm very, very excited about. If you're trying to figure out how do I stay on top of this, how do I not lose touch with you on socials, if you want to follow the new pod, if you're listening to this on October 28th, make sure you're following at More Than Blockchain. If not, if you're following on YouTube or the podcast platforms already, it will just change names. You won't notice anything. All of a sudden, we'll have some new branding, some new colors, and it will look a little bit different. It will still be me meeting with guests. And like I said, I'm going to try to cut down on some of the BitPods, and I really want to have guests push the conversations forward because I'm sure people are kind of sick of hearing me talk about Bitcoin. And there's so many more things that we need to be talking about right now in this moment of time as a civilization, as humanity. So I'd like to use my personal platform to start to do that. Always still talking about Bitcoin because I do think it's a very, very, very important part of our future that unfortunately too many people are sleeping on. So like I said, subscribe and follow at More Than Blockchain. And I'm very excited about this. If you've been following along, thank you so much. And I will see you on the next episode, which will be the first episode of the new brand. See you soon. Hey, if you're still listening and you're still there, I know I just did the outro and I did my normal things, but I just wanted to take a moment and say thank you so much for following me on the More Than Blockchain journey. I'm super excited to launch the new brand. So by the time you're hearing this, if you go to the socials, which used to be at More Than Blockchain, they may have a new name, and I'm going to start to just post stuff around the new philosophies, and I'm really excited to start doing live streaming. I used to be part of a live streaming cohort. It was 4 of us. It was called Not Crypto Bros, but I've never done live streaming by myself, so I'm really excited to delve into that new realm. If you followed me this far with More Than Blockchain, maybe you go all the way back to the Wi-Fi and water days. I thank you so much, and I really am excited about the next step with the new brand. And like I said, the next time you hear an episode from this RSS feed or this podcast where you follow us or on YouTube, we're going to have a whole new name and a whole new kind of dynamic. Now, before I start to have guests on, I'm going to have an episode. So the next episode will be me laying out how the new podcast is kind of going to work and feel. And if you want to be a guest and come on, there's going to be also a way to do that where you can fill out a form and then hop on. So anyways, just wanted to take the last couple minutes here. The sun is going down. I need to stop talking and say thank you so much for having checked out More Than Blockchain. And I'll see you on the other side with the new brand. Thanks.